Hi, I am Lexi Polk, and after watching the video, I feel that a culturally competent educator is an educator who understands the diversity of their classroom and is able to help students learn by using the students' diversity to their advantage. Teachers can become culturally competent by understanding their students' heritage and where they live, by either being involved with the community, researching students' past and family lives, or getting to know the students on a personal level. It is important for educators to get to know their students and their cultures to actively work against their implicit biases. By understanding your students and being culturally competent, teachers are able to help students of all races, religions, and backgrounds grow into their educational journey. When looking at the cultural competency continuum chart, I was debating placing myself between box 4 or 5. While I know it is ideal to be in box 5 or 6, I feel that recognizing my own need for growth is very important to becoming culturally competent. One issue that I have always seen throughout my years as a student is teachers assuming that their students celebrate certain holidays. For example, growing up, my elementary school always had a Christmas party even though it was a public school. This caused issues for students who were non-religious, or Jewish or Jehovah's Witness, who couldn't celebrate those certain holidays. While I think it is perfectly acceptable for students to express their own beliefs, we as educators should never put students in a situation that makes them uncomfortable or makes them feel excluded based upon their religion or ethnicity. There are ways that educators can have these same fun activities throughout the year by basing the parties around seasons rather than a holiday and incorporating lessons that have to do with those seasons. For example, this could mean having a winter-themed party where you wear pajamas and drink hot chocolate and talk about snow and how water can change from a solid to a liquid to a gas, rather than just talking about Christmas. Or for fall, talking about harvesting crops and having a farm-themed day where you learn about plants and play outside rather than having a Halloween-themed party. By taking steps to ensure that no one in your classroom feels uncomfortable, you can promote a safe environment where all of your students are able to grow and learn. For me to move on to the next step of the cultural competence continuum, I think that I need to work more actively against my implicit biases. Growing up in South Orange County in California, I have always attended predominantly white schools. Because of this, I have sometimes been uncomfortable or felt unsafe in areas that are not a white majority. While I know in my head that I should not feel unsafe around those people or in those areas, I sometimes will have to stop and consider this before my brain can outweigh my implicit biases. In order to make my classroom a safe space for all, I will research the area I am teaching in and understand the culture of the school district I am in, as well as having students do a show and tell days where they can give more personal insight to their culture and heritage. In order to further my cultural competency as an educator, I will work to understand the background and culture of the school district I am working in by researching and talking to other teachers with more experience than myself. Resources I can use are online articles about inclusivity in the classroom, as well as open communication with students and their parents, so that everyone feels comfortable communicating with each other, which will help promote the best learning environment for all of my students. In order to make my classroom culturally inclusive, it will be important to understand what backgrounds my students in my classroom have. This could mean having different languages of take-home letters available for students whose parents are not primarily English speakers, or sending home multiple copies of those papers for parents who are separated or divorced. Another way to incorporate diversity and cultural inclusivity in my future classroom is by looking into and teaching lessons about how other cultures do things differently, and looking at how the melting pot of the U.S. Incorporates all of those different cultures. Ways that you could do this as an activity would be having students bring in foods or toys, or really anything that represents their culture, and seeing how that fits into the culture of America, such as like pizza and burritos all being like from different cultures, but something that we still identify as Americans despite what our cultural background is. And as an educator, I think it is so easy for us to think in the mindset that we're the ones who are in charge and we're the ones who are teaching, but we need to remember that we can also learn from our students. By talking to our students and working to understand them as people rather than projects that we need to help, we can learn from our students and gain a better understanding of their culture. It is also important as a Christian to keep in mind that we have a forgiving God and a loving God. We should try and teach with that same love for our students so that no one feels out of place or disrespected. Thank you.